kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just remember. Just remember. Just remember. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just remember. Just remember. Just remember. Just remember.
Another week, another round here with the Endurance for Amateur series, and this week we head to one of the greatest tracks on the schedule. We head to the famous Road Atlanta, home of the Petit Le Mans that usually takes place in the fall. Good evening, everybody. My name is Sam Cooper Bennett here for ESPN, and we are live here on YouTube, on Facebook, and also live on the iRacing Live portal. And joining me in the booth once again is a man who needs no introduction. So I'm just going to say it. Byron's here.
Yes, Byron's in the house, folks. Byron Rodney. I'm glad to be in the cab, on the mic, listening to the race, watching the race, calling the race. These guys are great, man. This is one of my most favorite series on iRacing to date, is the Endurance for Amateurs. We are on Road Atlanta, folks. 2.5 miles, or shade over 2.5 miles, 12 turns, very technical, hard-braking areas. You are going to see some driving tonight.
That you are, as we get ready to go into qualifying in just under a minute's time. But before we do that, let's go to the point standings as we start with... Well, that's not it, is it? Oh, it is it. Never mind. Terry Calligan Jr.
Fire the technical guy.
Yeah, fire the technical guy. As we look at the GTE standings right now, Terry Calligan Jr. is your points leader by 4 points over Paul Skip, who's in second place. Brad McCombs is in third with Tyler Langenberg in P4. Tony Watson, who's made the move up from GT3 to GTE after sweeping up the GT3 Championship last season, currently in P5. Mark Dillon in P6, Jesse Brennan P7, Ryan Tyler P8, P9, and now this is a shock, and Byron even found this shocking when I just told him. Dennis Diaz down in P9, only 32 points on the season so far. Safe Ferries is in P10. Then you got Oleg Vorotniak, Jason Butler, and Robert Garcia. Well, let's take a look at the GT3 standings as for some reason my overlay is playing up. Just bear with me 1 second.
Like I said, fire the technical guy. Folks, I'm only here because they fired me a long time ago, but my termination papers got lost in the mail.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyway, let's take a look at the GT3 standings as Matthew Lemoncelli is your points leader. We've had 3 races so far, and in all 3 races he's had second place finishes. So very unusual. But,
always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Well, hopefully he can go one step further this time around with Chris Lawson 9 points back in second place, then Rex Hoyle in third, Zachary Nürnberger in fourth, Marcus Osborne in P5, Keith Woodcroft in P6. Two-time race winner so far this season, Michael McCoy. The only reason why he's down in P7 is because of that retirement he had in race 2 at Hockenheim. Paul Boyle is in P8, P9 is Daniel Barnett, Jack Gunsett is in P10, then you got Ryan Murray, William Alcala, Timothy Emanuele, Safe Ferries, who made the move to GT3 last week, he's down in P14 with 18 points, then you got Sean Adkins, Jeff Height, Atticus Middleton, Bryce Anderson has only scored 15 points, is having a very difficult GT3 debut season in P18, then you got Dave Ferrara, then you got Carl Payne, Cody Atkins, Alan Dice, and Connor Daly bringing up the rear. We do have other new drivers in the field here tonight, and it's a pair of Sullivans in the field this time around, Byron.
Oh, wow. A pair of Sullivans. We're going to have to find out from them. Are they brothers? Are they father, son? Are they brother, sister? I don't know, but we're going to find out tonight as qualifying is going on the track. And last season, I was used to seeing the Meme MW. Well, I'm seeing a Meme out there tonight. Dennis Diaz on the track on his first flyer.
Yep, let's go and find him. And there he is as he makes his way down the long straight now, as he makes his way down towards that really unorthodox chicane here. It may look easy, but it definitely isn't, as he makes the left, then the right. And I hate to brag, but I kind of painted this car.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of pointing it out. But that chicane that you just watched him go through, that is a very technical part, because you are coming off a long downhill run to that set of turns. You need to get on your binders a lot earlier than what you would think, because if you don't, you're going to carry too much momentum and you're going to blow those corners.
As he makes his way through that downhill section through the S's now. And you've got to get this one right, otherwise you're going to end up going through the grass. Does get it absolutely right. Diaz is at the top as he makes his way through this left-hander. Very easy to get wrong, and he gets it right this time just about. Then you've got the double right-handers First right-hander is a slow braking corner, but an even slower corner through the second right-hander. Then this sets you up for that long straight down towards that chicane here, Byron.
Yep, and like I said, you get over that hill under the Motel Bridge, you get down, you're headed downhill, and it's kind of deceptive from the cockpit. You're carrying a lot of momentum, a lot more than what you think, so you need to get on those binders a little early, or you will blow that chicane as here he comes.
Yep, here we go into the chicane. Going to take the left and the right. This will be an improvement, or will it? Because Paul Skip has just gone purple in his final sector. We'll find out what he gets down as Dennis Diaz comes through the final corner. We're going to stay on board with him as he crosses the line. He does not improve, but Paul Skip, he might improve as he crosses the line. Does he improve? The answer is no.
Yeah, Paul Skip running a Corvette as well. GT3 out that looks like, you know, it's going to be about that top 5 is within 0.5 of a second of each other. It's going to be a great race in GT E. Let's go on over to the GT3 class. Michael McCoy is sitting on the top of the leaderboard and qualifying with, you help me with the pronunciation. It's a new driver for me. Safe Ferries?
Safe Ferries, yeah.
Safe Ferries. He's got himself in the second spot. Matthew, oh wow,
Lemoncelli, yeah.
Lemoncelli, boy. You know what? There's going to be a lot of drivers going to want to kick old Byron in the ding-ding before this one's done tonight.
Yeah, Marcus Osborne out on track in the white Pony Express BMW. We usually see the black Pony Express car, but Marcus opted in for the white one. Usually see him in the Reese's car, but that is a paint scheme I dearly do miss. I loved it when he ran that car.
Yeah, I'm kind of partial to that Reese's, and especially when we were calling it for his birthday week that week.
Yeah, but
kind of partial to that.
But he's here anyway, and he's currently sitting P4 in the GT3 standings. Bryce Anderson is out there as well, rocking the Porsche once again in the anime Porsche this time around as he makes his way through the double right-handers.
Yeah, I love the sound of that Porsche going around there. It sounds like a bee in a bucket.
I mean, the GT3 Porsche, this is the brand new Porsche that was released in this most recent build, and it doesn't sound as bad as the GTE Porsche, I will be honest.
Yeah, it doesn't have the bee in a beer can. That's why I said beer in a bucket. Got a little deeper throat growl to it.
That it does, as we see Bryce Anderson just completing his lap now. Can he improve right here? He does not improve because he's going to go straight back to pit road. We've got just under 4 minutes left in qualifying. We've got some people out on track right now. Zachary Nürnberger in the Pony Express Lamborghini is just making his way through the S's right now.
Lamborghini, it looks to be a pretty, wide car, handling very well for him. Looks like we're going to have us a bit of a night race tonight because I'm seeing the headlights glowing up on my graphics. Hats off to iRacing because the camera angle that I'm catching, when they get off of that chicane, I can see where the cars bottom out and see the gouges in the track. It's a beautiful job. Hats off to iRacing. Yeah,
I'm getting a great view of the guys there, as well as Nürnberger making his way down this long straight towards that chicane, and let's see if he gets it all right. He is on a time lap right now, so he needs to get these corners absolutely nailed down. Bit slow through the chicane, I will feel there.
Just a tad, but like you said, there's that beautiful view I was looking at. You can see the gouges in the track. But GT3 will run a little slower class, and it does not seem to be. He did get his fastest lap on that one.
Only P12 though in class.
Yeah, 119.368 is what holds the pole in the GT3 class. We're going to have a tight race tonight as we are going to go 90 minutes timed around this track, around around the Atlanta road course. Wow, he takes that corner. He took a lot of momentum in that corner.
That he did, as we still focus on Nürnberger as he comes to complete his lap, I believe. He is the only other. Well, Bryce Anderson's still out there. Jack Gunsett is out there as well. Timothy Emanuele, who's yeah, thanks for rubbing it in, Timothy. He's running an Italian flag on his car.
Well, my trading pace hasn't caught up with you. I got him in a white car, in a white Mercedes, but yeah, he is going to rub that one in on you.
Yeah, the Italian running the Italian flag on his Mercedes after Italy beat England in the Euro 2020 final. But anyway, let's go back to Nürburgring as he comes to complete his lap now through the final corner, down the hill and across the line. What's that going to be? Is it going to be an improvement? No, he will not get that lap as a registered lap.
Yeah, he must have took an off track along in there somewhere along the way. As now I'm looking back to Timothy Emmanuel as he's bringing that Mercedes around. Such a distinctive sound off the engine of that Mercedes, man. You want to talk about a growl?
I love the sound of the Mercedes engine. Probably the best sound, one of the best sounding engines on the iRacing service as we come across the line with Emanuele does not improve either, so his time gets deleted as well.
So he's going to be starting. He's going to have his work cut out for him way back there in the field. As we are going to run an hour and a half around Road Atlanta. Like I said, 12 turns, a little over 2.5 miles. Very technical course. A lot of sweeping turns. It kind of reminds me a bit of Watkins Glen, but with more turns.
Pretty much, as we are just coming to the end of qualifying now. Very much looking forward to seeing how this race goes. As, well, there's one Mr. Marcus Hagman in the chat right now, so big hello to him. The
world's fastest Swede.
Yeah.
I miss Marcus. I haven't talked to him in a good long time. How you doing, Marcus?
As for some reason, the overlay is playing up again, so bear with me 1 second as I get that sorted. But yeah, qualifying over. We'll get to the grid in just a second. I'm just fixing my overlay because SDK is not playing ball today. And it's very much annoying, I will say that. As
you know what? It is the internet. Sometimes things do happen, but we can give you a starting lineup, folks.
That we can, as starting up on the pole will be none other than Mr. Dennis Diaz. Let's go class by class, actually, and then we can do the do it the way. If I do GTE, then you can do GT3, Byron. So starting on the pole in GTE will be Dennis Diaz. He'll be joined by Terry Calgar Jr. on that front row. Paul Scape and Ryan Tyler will be row 2. Row 3 will be Brad McCombs and Tyler Langenberg. Row 4 will be Oleg Vorotniak and Jesse Brannon. Row 5 will be Robert Garcia and Mark Dillon Jr. And Tony Watson rounds out your 11 car field in GTE.
Now, we're talking, we got a lot of cars in GT3. GT3 seems to be the popular class here this season. As Michael McCoy, he's going to start on the pole in the GT3 class. Chris Lawson's going to start to his outside elbow. Cy Ferries, he's going to be rolling off third in GT3. Fourth's going to go off to Matthew Limoncelli. Marcus Osborne in fifth. Bryce Anderson sixth. Keith Roycroft, followed by Paul Broyal, Sean Adkins. Coming off in the what would be the 10th position for GT3 would be Dallas Sullivan. Rex Hoyle's going to start in the 11th position. Zachary Nuremberger, his qualifying got him to 12th. Gary Schilling, Dave Ferrara going to take the next two positions. Rolling off 15th would be Cody Atkins, followed by Daniel Barnett. Rolling off in the 17th position in GT3. Jack Gunset, Jeff Height, he's going to roll off 18th, and Timothy Emmanuel and Richard Sullivan is going to roll off shotgun in the GT3 field as the pace car, driven by our famous pace car driver, Pachi KR, has got the field in tow.
Yep, as we get ready to go here, Dennis Diaz is going to be your man in control at the start of this one. It is a single file restart, as always in this series. And yes, Marcus Osborne, you should be gridding, so I don't know why you're talking in the chat as we do get the field rolling. And is Marcus Osborne gridded? Yes, he is. There he is.
That's called multitasking, folks. He can type out a message while he's out there rolling a peace lap.
Absolutely. So 21 cars in GT3, or 20 cars in GT3, 11 cars in GTE, a 31 car field. That is the biggest field we've had since we started broadcasting these guys, Byron.
Man, there's going to be a lot of action all over the track tonight, Sam. You're going to have to give me some direction on where you're focusing in on. There's going to be a lot of battles, folks. These GT3 cars will pick them up and put them down a little faster, or GTE cars will pick them up and put them down a little faster around this track than the GT3s. We will see some overtaking. Lap traffic will be a definite thing, but this is endurance racing. It's not about who's got the fastest car and give you the fastest lap. It's who can be the most consistent and keep it out of trouble. That's the way you got to do it, and we got to do it for 90 minutes around Road Atlanta.
That we do as we get ready to go racing right now here for the 4th round of the Endurance for Amateur Series. It's going to be Dennis Diaz in control of GTE. And Michael McCoy looking for his 3rd race for the season in control for GT3. So this is where it's all going down. This is where it's happening. Road Atlanta, famous for its endurance race, famous for its hills, and it's very much high action racing as they come through the final chicane now, up the hill and down the crest. Byron, get us going.
All right, Patrick KR, he's going to take that pace car down pit lane. Dennis Diaz has control of the field, waiting on the green flag. Green flag is out. Dennis Diaz hits the loud pedal, crosses the line, and we start the timer. 90 minutes, Road Atlanta, we are underway.
Yeah, we are indeed, as Dennis Diaz leads them up towards turn 1, and it's a great start by everybody in GTE so far as they make their way up into this very difficult chicane section leading up into the S's. Everybody looks like they're going to make it round. Tony Watson makes it round. Let's go back to GT3 as they're about to get things started as well here, Byron.
Yep, GT3, Michael McCoy, he has control of the field. Green flag is out for them. Loud pedal is mashed, and we have a massive angry cars right behind him as he hustles it off into turn 1, looking to set that car, get set sail. As we already got one, Chris Lawson way off the track, did not get on the binders, into the wall already. Yeah,
big trouble for Chris Lawson as I can't see him. There he is. Oh my goodness me, winner from race 2. Horrid stuff for him, and it looks like his throttle's stuck open. He's it sounded to me like
a technical issue.
Yeah, maybe, as we're looking at Paul Boyle, who's making his way down the hill, as Dallas Sullivan has had a problem as well in that GT3 car. Oh, that yellow Mercedes is around as well.
Yeah, big problems for Dallas Sullivan as he walls that thing. It is good. We do have a fast repair available for these guys. A couple of drivers, as you've seen, are going to have to take it awful early, but they're going to have to take darn good care of their cars and have to work some strategy and a lot of fancy driving to catch themselves back up into this thing. As, Dallas Sullivan just got it all wrong coming around there. Cold tires, Sam. How many times have we said it? Cold tires.
Absolutely. Going back to GTE now, we got some pretty close battling here for 3rd place here between Paul Skip, Brad McCoon. 3 wide going into the right-hander here. This could be spell trouble. Skip having to back out of it big. Instant right there almost.
Yep, and then right behind him, another 2 wide, almost turning into 3 wide. There's some haymakers being thrown in the GTE class for the 5th, 6th, 7th positions right now.
Yeah, Brad McCoon's really aggressive on the start there, taking away that 3rd place. I think Paul Skip might have got a slowdown here, as here comes Tyler Langenberg to take away the position from Skip now.
Yeah, I'm taking a look right now. I got my eyeballs in on the set battle for 5th, 6th, and 7th, as these guys have been swapping positions like crazy.
That they have, as Oliver Vorotniak is right there as well. He's not letting Langenberg get away, and Skip has fallen back to P7 now, so problems for last week's race where he's got Robert Garcia in that Calsonic BMW right behind him. There is Jesse Brannon in that very hard to look at Corvette once again. Tony Watson right behind him. Mark Dillon Jr. has had a problem. He's fallen off the back of the GTE field.
Hey, Mark Dillon Jr., don't know what happened to him in the Corvette, but he's fallen way back off the pace, but he's got it back up to speed now. Just got to get those laps. Like I said, It's not about the fastest lap. It's about keeping your car safe and being consistent. It's what endurance racing's all about. That's why I love this series so much. You're going to have to see some green flag stops. And here at Road Atlanta, with all the turns that they're taking at the speed that they're taking them, Sam, I can imagine they're probably going to want fresh rubber when they go for the pit stop.
Now we've got a new leader in GT3. Safe Ferries is the leader in this one with Michael McCoy falling back to second. Matthew Lemoncelli is right up there as well. They've completely gotten away. Actually, Bryce Anderson not too far behind, but they've completely gotten away from Marcus Osborne. And Zachary Nürnberger has had an incident here.
Go back and have to see what happened to
big
Zachary.
Damage.
Big damage on the hood of that Lamborghini.
Yeah, let's take a look and see what happened here. And it's coming down the hill through the S's. Oh, and he just got it all wrong. Lost the back end of the car and slammed into that concrete wall. That would have not have been a nice hit if that was a real life crash.
Yeah, and we talked about, it's a technical track. Those long sweeping turns, it looks like he just caught too much of the curb, unsettled the back rear suspension, and as our compatriot Tony Trapassa would say, snap, see you bye, got loose, went around.
Yeah, meanwhile, in GTE, there was an incident for Jesse Brannon and Tony Watson. Let's go back and take a look at this one on the overhead, on the far away camera. As they're coming down towards the chicane, it looks like under braking, Brannon just loses the car. The car pitches sideways. Tony Watson nowhere to go and just punts him into the gravel.
Yeah, is it me, Sam, or am I seeing an awful lot of Corvettes in the GTE class this season?
Well, just this race. There wasn't so many in a couple of races so far this season. It's dependent on which car runs. It's all about the BOP, the balance of power, and which cars run where. And it seems to me that the BMW in GT is probably the most unpopular car out there at the moment. Even Dennis Diaz has ditched his BMW, his Meme MW, and brought out the Memette for this one this week.
Yeah, the Meme MW and the Memette. What are we going to call it if he ever switches to a Porsche? Or a Mercedes?
I'll have to think about that one.
You get to thinking as I'm taking a look back. Cy Ferries, it looks like he's kind of gotten away a little, not quite gotten away a little bit. Still got Michael McCoy right on his tail, trying to make him drive out of that rearview mirror, trying to put a little bit of pressure on him. So if he makes a mistake, McCoy can pounce on him right away. But McCoy is a smart driver. He is not, putting so much pressure that he's putting his car or the car in front of him or behind him in danger. He knows that it's endurance racing. We're only, 9 minutes into this thing?
6
We've
minutes.
got a long way to go. 6 minutes? We got a long way to go.
Yeah, only 6.5 minutes into this race, and it's a big race at the front in GT3. Here comes Michael McCoy taking a look in towards the right-hander. Doesn't quite have the space right there into the second right-hander. Now he needs to get this one right to set himself up to try and pass going in towards the chicane. Needs to use that draft to make the move. But watch out for Lemoncelli. He's right there as well. It's a Lamborghini versus BMW versus Mercedes in this fight for the lead.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what car, what manufacturer takes the top spots on these things. Like we said, the GTE Corvette seems to be the popular car, the BMW the least popular. These guys, that tells me that they're putting in the practice time on their own in each vehicle to see which one best suits their driving style to which track that they happen to be going to for that week. That's why we're seeing them switch manufacturers, and it puts on a hell of a show if you ask me.
Well, that's the thing. In GT3, the BMW is actually the most popular. So, whereas it's popular in GT3, it's not so popular in GTE. So it's a very different feel when it comes to different classes. And we've got an incident right here.
Yep, Cy Ferries, he has, like I said, he was driving it out of the mirror. McCoy was putting that pressure on him. Just not putting in a lot of pressure, but making it so he had to drive in that mirror, and he just flat overdrove a corner right into the wall, and he's still trying to get it backed up and turned around. He's losing a ton of track position right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the incident, but it's only showing me the last part of it, unfortunately. As the V-Speed number 9 is in trouble. Had the lead for a while, but unfortunately come unstuck here in this one as he's back up to speed once again, but has dropped all the way down to P13 in class now, just ahead of, I believe that's Jack Gunset right behind him.
Yeah,
No, it's Jeff Hyde,
and
sorry.
not to mention if he has any damage on there, it's, you know, how's that car handling? It's going to take him a lap or two to shake that out to see how that thing's handling for him, to see if he's going to have to bring her pit side early for a fast repair, or can he hang it out and survive on tires until the green flag stops come around.
Battle for the lead in GTE as Terry Calgar Jr. is right on the back of Dennis Diaz, gets into the back of him, and Diaz is around into the grass. Big incident there in the lead. Wow.
I happen to be focused on Cypherius. That happened right around and in him. I got to go back and take another look at that.
That was a horrific incident. It looked like Terry Calgar Jr. just lost it under braking. And Diaz
that's coming down that hill to the chicane. I talked about that pre-race. You need to be careful about the momentum. You are coming down the hill, and you're going to carry too much into the corner, and that's exactly what happened.
and that's put Dennis Diaz back all the way to P8 right now. He's back up and running again with some rear end damage. Terry Calgar Jr. is in second place. As Brad McCombs has capitalized on that. He is now your overall leader, but Terry Calgar Jr. is buried down on him. So is Ryan Tyler.
Yeah, and oh my gosh, I just saw an incident. One car into the back and then goes around.
Yeah,
Who was that just spun around in front of the leaders?
I don't know.
It looks like Road Atlanta is taking its toll, ladies and gentlemen.
Was it Jack Gunset?
Could be. I am just having to cycle through my timing and scoring isn't as quick as Sam's right now. Because you know what? I'm in the Mobile Command Center, sitting in the middle of God's country, nowhere, Nebraska, on a cellular connection.
That was Jack
Actually
Gunset.
able to call a race.
It was Jack Gunset. So, Jack Gunset and the student driver, I'm pretty sure you'd like, I thought you'd like that car actually.
Go take another
The
look at
student
that.
driver BMW. As we go back to your race leader, Brad McCombs, who's got a nice lead now over Terry Calgar. Ryan Tyler not able to stay with the top two at the moment, but still a long way to go. Tyler Langenberg up to P4 with Oleg Vorotniak running out your top five. Paul Skip in P6 with Tony Watson not too far behind. And I'm pretty sure a very angry Dennis Diaz is down there in P8 and closing in on Tony Watson. A lot of rear end damage on that 420.
You got to wonder, how is that car handling right now? Is he going to be able to hang on to it to green flag stops to go ahead and get his fast repair? Dennis Diaz driving with a little bit of anger right at the moment.
Just a little bit as he's making his way up through the straights right now. And I just had a comment in the live chat, very interestingly. It's from Sebastian 5.0. It says, in the first stage, in the first race, when the engines first roared, one Dennis Diaz stood. He wore the crown of esports racing, and those that tasted the bite of his splitter named him the Sim Slayer. Well, Terry Calgar Jr. took a bite of his splitter and put him in the gravel, so he got slayed, didn't he?
Yeah, it just happened that way. But you know what? Sam, how many times have we been racing in leagues, and how many times have we broadcast leagues where we've had a season where you had someone that was so dominant and just couldn't do any wrong, and then they turned into what we call that guy the next season, where anything happened anywhere on the track, they happened to be in the middle of it, and it just killed all their chances, even though they were driving way better than their results showed. It happens every year in every league. As Terry Calgar Jr. has still got this race, but Brad McCombs in GTE is not letting off his back bumper.
Well, Brad McCombs has just lost that lead to Terry Calgar and wants it back straight away. He's right on the tail of that Porsche as they go through turn one and up the hill. McCombs has not won a race yet since we started broadcasting this league and would love a race win here. And
Lap traffic is starting to figure heavily into this thing. as, oh wow, I'm watching. If you're live, as they're headed through the S's, McCombs is all over the back of Calgary Jr. and Calgary's got lap traffic right in front of us. There goes the move for the lead. We're going to hit a 3 wide here.
I was just talking about that when you spoke. So, anyway.
Sorry, I got to knock the rust off, folks.
As they come through the tight right-hander up onto the main straight right now. Here comes Ryan Tyler right on the back of Brad McCombs now. As they come up past, I believe that is Daniel Barnett, I believe, or Cody. No, is it Cody Atkins? It is Cody Atkins in the BMW, in the Falcon BMW, down towards the chicane. Ryan Tyler not able to get the pass done this time around on Brad McCombs.
It don't look now, but Tyler Langenberg he's hanging tight, tough right there with him, right all over the back. You know, he's got this whole battle right there in front of him.
Got to get around Cody Atkins first, though, in order to try and get to the back of them. He does. Paul Skip not too far behind either. He still has Oleg Vorotniak for company, though, in that battle for P5. So, going to keep an eye on that one. Back in GT3, though, Michael McCoy has completely gotten away from Matthew Lemoncelli. Where has Westside Ferry's gone? Well, that is a question that we had answered about, what, 4 or 5 laps ago. He had a big incident going down the hill and just hit the wall, just hit the grass and went around.
Yeah, what happened was it looked like McCoy got right up behind him, was putting pressure on him, but not too much pressure. And, you know, in my experience in driving these things, and you're the leader and you get someone just riding right on your rear, just holding serve right there, it forces you to pay more attention to your rear view mirror than it does your windshield. And all you got to do is make one bobble, miss one corner entry, miss one braking point, and you have an incident like that. And that's what looked like happened to Syke. He was just paying more attention to that rear view, trying to defend his position, which is his right to do. It just, made a little oops and lost a lot of track position trying to get that thing righted and back the right direction.
Marcus Osborne just ahead of him, who's obviously a lap ahead of him. Currently sitting P4 in that white Pony Express number 7. Is about 3.8 seconds off the back of Bryce Anderson, who's third in class right now. And running pretty smoothly. Don't crash it this time, Marcus. We are pleading with you, don't crash it. Paul Boyle is currently sitting in P5 in GT3. A very unusual green paint scheme on Boyle's car this time.
Yeah, well, like I said, my Ben was not allowing my trading paints to want to play with me on that. I'd love to see it, but I do notice the Mimette. I don't, it's kind of funny how that comes across, but the others don't.
As Diaz trying to close in on Tony Watson, and Watson trying to get around Cody Atkins. Does get around him, as does Dennis Diaz. But we saw a few laps ago with that incident with Dennis Diaz that it is very easy to outbrake yourself and just run into the back of someone there in that chicane.
Yes, it is. It is very deceptive. It is a downhill run. You carry a lot of momentum going down that hill. So where you would normally brake for a corner, you got to brake a lot earlier because you're carrying that downhill speed. Not only that downhill speed, but the weight of the car on a downhill plane.
That's absolutely true. As Diaz still trying to get to the back of Tony Watson. A little bit overhead. Paul Skip is he's actually gotten away from Oleg Vorotniak now. He's looking to the back of, I believe that's Keith Roycroft to put a lap on him. It is. And I don't know if he's still got it on there from Mid-Ohio. And he has. Just go in a close camera behind Keith Roycroft and tell me what it says. Because I wrote that for him on the back of the car.
Well, like I said, one more time, if my... It looks like I should, so let me get a good look.
Oh, we've had an incident for Mark Dillon. 1 second.
You're evil.
Yeah. I put it on our 24 Hours of Spa cars, and As we've seen an incident for Mark Dillon there, just got it all wrong in that tight right-hander, and it's very easy to do there. Almost collects Robert Garcia. And Dillon just not having a good night so far tonight. But yeah, I put it on our, I put that thing on our cars for the Spa 24. Keith saw
Which
it.
I am praying I'm going to be home for.
Yeah.
I asked for it.
Keith saw that and wanted it on his own car, so I gave it to him. So.
You're welcome, Keith.
Yeah. As we go back to the battling right now, we've got a battle here for second. Well, not a battle for second place, but a battle for the lead still going on. Brad McCombs has taken that lead back here, Byron. Tyler Calgar Jr. has not let him get away, though.
No, he is not. He is all over the rear of him. As like I said, lap traffic is figuring in big time right now. As we're getting the classes all mixed up in here. Only 16 cars by my timing and scoring on the lead lap, and only 5 of those cars are GT3 class.
Yeah. As they come across the line, McCombs and Calgar complete another lap now. We're on lap 16 of God knows how many. We're only 19 minutes in, 19 and a half minutes in right now. We've seen a lot of action already here tonight, as you'd expect with these guys. But with a lot more cars on the track, it's just chaos everywhere at the moment.
Yeah, and I got my eyes on Brad McCombs. I was watching him. Boy, he blew a corner entry, but thank God the Turtles did not get him as he brings it down or through the S's, down the hill, back up the hill, and that's allowed Terry Calgar Jr. to close in on him even closer.
Yeah, these guys just not letting each other get away as we go back to the GT3 class leader, Michael McCoy, and he's getting away from Matty Lemoncelli. And Lemoncelli's going to be praying for something to happen to McCoy in front of him right now, because you got to think that if Lemoncelli finishes in second place for the 4th race in a row, one, it's either going to be one new kind of record, and 2, he's going to be banging his head against the wall, wondering when this win's going to come along.
Yeah, but you know what? I have seen championships won just by being consistent for second place finishes. I've seen guys win championships and never have won a race in the season.
Yeah, still a long way to go though. Still got well over an hour to go, an hour and 10 minutes left in this race, and
one taker to pit lane right now.
Yeah, that is Timothy Emanuele in pit road. And
did I just see Timothy Emanuele? No, he did not put that on the hauler.
Nope, he's still there, just coming out of his pit stall right now. But another comment in the chat right now, it's from Jocelyn. I will get it right. Jocelyn Osborne is in the chat right now, and she's probably going to kick me in the ding-ding for almost getting the name wrong. She's cheering on Marcus once again. Good to see you in the chat once again, Jocelyn, and supporting your boy. As he's not doing too bad right now, currently sitting in 3rd in class at the moment.
Okay. Talk to me, Sam. You've got the timing and scoring application going on. We were watching Terry Calgar Jr. big off track out in the grass. I don't know if has he been to pit lane yet? Because Ryan Tyler is your race leader right now, followed by Tyler Langenberg.
Well, something's happened there between Calgar and
McCombs,
because McCombs is down as well. Let's go back and take a look here and find out exactly what's going on. Oh, there it is. There it is. And we're going to go back a bit further, and it was contact through the final 2 sets of corners. McCombs into the wall. Calgar off in the grass. And something happened to Calgar after this, because he's had incidents after that. I'm wondering if he's damaged the suspension on his car, because he was off again later on. Actually, he had another crash somewhere.
Yeah, his car looks like it is definitely not handling the way he wants it to. As I was watching, that's how I noticed. I went back and I said, did he take it pit side early on a strategy call? And I saw him run off track real far out into the grass, and I'm watching him now, and it looks like his car is just not handling to his liking.
Yeah, Brad McCombs is up ahead of him. And he's got more damage than Terry Calgar Jr., but still able to stay ahead. Tony Watson up to P5 now. Oleg Vorotniak is in P4. And despite the spin through the grass that he had, Dennis Diaz back up to P3. Paul Skip, after falling back from the field, back up to P2. But you're right, Ryan Tyler in the BMW is in the lead, but Skip is closing in on him pretty quickly.
Yeah, 2.5 at the last time they crossed the line for the lead for Ryan Tyler. But Paul Skip is cutting into that, and Dennis Diaz is now, he is a man on a mission, picking him up, putting him down. Had a big issue to start, but that is, hats off to the driver of the 420, because what he's done is say, I'm not giving up. And, here he is back from the outhouse, moving up to the penthouse just by sticking with it. And folks, that's what endurance racing is all about. Keeping that car under you, and if something happens, keep after it, because things can happen, especially on a road course like Road Atlanta.
Absolutely. As we go back to the lead battle right now, and it is a lead battle because Paul Skip is right on the back of Ryan Tyler as they come around Jack Gunsett and the student driver BMW, and a bit more wild through the chicane there for Paul Skip, so that's lost him a bit of time coming through the final two corners. Hopefully he can make that back up. They're still about 2 seconds ahead of Dennis Diaz. They've got to be careful as Michael McCoy sets the fastest lap in GT3 with a, well, I will get it right, a 1:19.45. That is before they've even made the pit stops and on old tires as well. Yeah,
that is flying, that car around here. Car's a little, handles different. It's got different braking, different suspension. But I'm taking a cockpit ride. If you want to, take a look what I'm riding along here. Is Paul Skip is all over the back of Ryan Tyler, looking to make that move once again. And if we ride on that cockpit, you're going to take a look at how that downhill through that chicane really looks as he takes it around the second right-hander and hustles it off the Motec Bridge. And now we're on that long straight. Now you're going to see exactly what you can't see because of the elevation changes here at Road Atlanta.
Yeah, we're on board with Paul Skip now as he's going to get the run on Ryan Tyler coming down the hill. Going to try now breaking backs out of it. And yeah, the downhill section into the chicane, really off-putting, but you've got the uphill section on the exit. Really have to get it right, and Paul Skip got it right that time, just didn't have the momentum there to make the move on Ryan Tyler.
And another thing I want to bring up is when you get that, after that chicane, you have that hill, as we were riding on board with Paul Skip, you have that hill. You have that hill that you need to, blind exit on. You got to get that corner right, as Mark Dillon has made another crash.
That he has, and we're trying to look at it, but iRacing not playing ball again. Nope, still not playing ball. Anyway, Mark Dillon's off, and Marcus Osborne has had an off as well. Oh, a big off as well in the number 7. And that is going to be painful there for the Pony Express driver. Let's take a look and see what happened. And it's through turn 1, I believe, and it is. He lost the back end through turn 1. And oh, got smacked by Paul Boyle there. That is a pretty hefty
bad luck
hit
for the pilot of the 7 machine, Marcus Osborne.
Yeah.
Paul Skip is really putting the moves on him. Paul Skip finally gets the job done, gets it around Ryan Tyler, move the number 85 machine to the point.
Yeah, but look who's right behind them. Dennis Diaz has caught these two as they were battling, and he kind of snuck up on both of them. It's a three-way dance for the lead now as Michael McCoy sets another fastest lap of the race in GT3.
Wow.
And look at the battle for second place now. But Ryan Tyler really trying to hold off Dennis Diaz. Diaz now got the bit between his teeth after being spun out by Terry Calgary earlier in the race. And now looking to try and win this one under anger.
Yeah, Dennis Diaz, he's putting that pressure on the back of Ryan Tyler, forcing Ryan to want to drive in that rearview mirror, trying to defend that spot. As we saw, Paul Skip was able to get around him, heading down into that final chicane before we got to turn 1, as Dennis Diaz is probably looking to make that same move, as we've got Corvette, BMW Corvette anger going on at the front of this field.
And whilst Ryan Tyler's holding up Dennis Diaz, Paul Skip is able to get away. We've got pit stops happening in GT3 though. Bryce Anderson, Marcus Osborne, and I believe Daniel Barnett is just coming out of pit road himself, and he is. So,
Yeah.
Barnett,
Bryce Anderson, I noticed, taking that fast repair. Or no, that was Marcus Osborne taking that fast repair.
yeah. There is
Well,
Bryce
after
Anderson.
having a meeting with the wall, he kind of needed it.
He didn't have a meeting with the wall, he had a meeting with Paul Boyle. It was Paul Boyle that,
As
that hit
Dennis
him.
Diaz has managed to get around Ryan Tyler
That he
and
has.
set sail for the back end of Paul Skip. He's got a GT3 in front of him. He's got to get around. But Dennis is a patient enough driver. We're going to have a battle for the lead before this thing's all said and done.
That is the Ferrari of Dave Ferrara. And don't look now, but while these guys are battling, while Ferrara is just slightly holding them up, one Mr. Oliver Vorotniak has started closing in on these guys as well.
Yeah, if you're a car in clean air, you see that battle going on in front of you, it's slowing them down. You're able to catch up to the back of them. You're loving it. Now it's time for you to pick and choose on your front windshield as to when you're going to make that move on that pressure, as lap traffic is really starting to figure into this thing.
That's absolutely true, although some connection issues there for Vorotniak, so he needs to keep an eye on that one, and lots of traffic anywhere. Obviously with 31 drivers on the track, you've got to expect a lot of traffic anyway, although Richard Sullivan I don't think took the start in this race.
Nope, Ryan Tyler was all over the back of Dennis Diaz. Looked like he was going to put a move on him, but no, he's decided to bring a pit side for his pit stop, and that, I believe, is the first of the GTEs coming in.
Yeah, pretty much, and it is. Tyler Langenberg, what has happened to him? Let's take a look at Langenberg, see where he is. He fell back. I'm not sure if he had an incident or something, but he's back in P9 now. Let's just see if he took it down pit road. And Langenberg Tyler is the second driver to bring it down to pit road in GT because Langenberg has already taken it down.
All right, so now it's going to boil down to when's our leader going to decide to bring his Corvette in pit side to see if he can get the overcut or the undercut with the other guys going to work on him with the fresh rubber. They've got to get those tires back out on the track and up to temperature. We'll have to wait and see.
Yep,
I haven't seen too much time fall off because our leader, his last lap, he ran a 1:16.8 and he qualified a 1:16.4. So not so much fall off on this track. So when our leader goes pit side, I'm going to keep my eyes on him to see if he does take rubber.
As we're looking at Tony Watson right now, has drove a pretty measured race there in that Brumos Porsche. Not doing too badly at all. Sitting in P4 overall. Got a nice 6-second lead over Brad McCombs, and that's owing to McCombs having that crash with Terry Cowger Jr. But Watson having a very good race this week.
Yeah, Watson's always been a very steady driver through the Endurance for Amateur Series. You know, I got to give my hats to the skills of these guys. I am not too much of a slouch of a driver when it comes to driving at Spa. It happens to be one of my very favorite road courses to race on, as you know, everyone knows we're getting ready to do the endurance race there. But these guys, I raced with them. They invited me. I was out on track, and I got to tell you, man, they took me to school.
We're looking at Brad McCombs there. He's in P5 now. I thought it was, yeah, Brad McCombs is about 5.8 seconds behind Tony Watson. Trying to close that gap, but that front end damage on that Corvette probably holding him back ever so slightly. He's got a nice 11-second lead over Robert Garcia, who himself has had a pretty decent race already in that BMW. Currently in a squabble with GT3 cars, though. That's Zachary Nürnberger in front of him, and then Safe Ferry's battling out with Marcus Osborne right now. That was for position. Ferry's moving ahead of Osborne for 12th in class. Yeah,
see, Ferry's, you know, just had that incident. You know, we talk about it, endurance racing. Boy, you need to do everything you can to keep that car under you, as we are just past the 30-minute mark in this race.
More problems for Mark Dillon Jr. He's had another incident. He actually towed it to pit road, and he is way down the order, currently sitting 25th overall, and doesn't look like he's bringing it out of pit road very soon, as Sean Adkins has had an incident. He's stopped on the S's there. That's a very dangerous place to stop.
Yeah, he needs to get it going as he fires her back up, gets it going, checks the steering on that thing. He actually pulled it to the side of the track, off the racing line, and waited for traffic to go around him. Hats off to the man who paid attention to his relative.
Yep, so Adkins running up again as we go back to Ryan Tyler, who's just got around Chris Lawson. Tyler just made his pit stop, and interestingly enough, comes out pretty 6 seconds behind Tyler Langenberg. Langenberg might be looking for an undercut here, as here comes Tony Watson into pit road.
Yeah, Tony Watson's coming in. GT3 class looks like they're starting to find the edge of the grip on their tires, finding the bottom of the fuel tank. Still waiting on our leader, Paul Skip, to bring it in. Dennis Diaz still waiting on him to bring it in, as well as Oleg. He hasn't brought it in yet either.
And Paul Skip has really gotten away from Dennis Diaz now. And with Paul Skip, I said when we first saw him on our screens with ESPN, he might be a match for the likes of Dennis Diaz, and we're seeing that right now. Skip really taking it to Dennis Diaz at the moment.
Yeah, but, knowing Dennis Diaz the way that I do and having the conversations offline with him or outside of iRacing with him that I've had, you know what? Having competition on the track that is going to challenge him, is going to bring out the driver in him and the competitive edge. It just makes him more enjoyable for him to have a rabbit to chase, so to speak.
Paul Boyle in pit road right now, getting a new front end put on the car after the contact he had with Marcus Osborne. Now, not sure where this is going to put him. He's P5 in class right now, as Cody Atkins will be the one to try and get around him. This is going to be very close on pit exit, actually, as Atkins just passes around the outside, but Atkins just getting ahead of Paul Boyle through that pit stop from the number 14.
Well, it looks like Dennis Diaz and Oleg have brought their cars pit side for service. Fuel going into the Corvette of Dennis Diaz. So I'm waiting to see if rubber goes on, or are they going to just bring her right back out on a fuel run. So if they're coming in at this mark, it looks like we're going to have to see another green flag stop before this race is over.
No tires.
No tires, as he just gets fuel only. So we'll have to see what they do on the next fuel stop, because I don't think they can make it to the end from here.
Then for Vorotniak, he decides to not take tires either. So when they make their second pit stop, and they will probably have to take tires then, because I like the genius of this one, league owner Mark Dillon Jr. The genius that he is, making this, all he had to do was make this race 10 minutes longer and make it into a two-stop race. What a genius.
Yep, as our leader, Paul Skip, is in, we'll see if the undercut works for Dennis Diaz and Oleg Vorotniak.
Yeah, let's go right there as Jack Gunsett is just making his way up pit road, trying to give Skip as much room as possible. As here we go, into his pit stall now does go Paul Skip. And Byron, if I could ask you to keep an eye on Dennis Diaz, as looks like Brad McCombs and Robert Garcia making their way into pit road as well.
Yeah, Dennis Diaz, he's got my eyes on him. He's bringing it down the hill.
Skip's still in the stall now, he's moving. Can he get out in time though, as here comes Dennis Diaz through turn one, and Paul Skip is right there, they're side by side up the hill. Dennis Diaz takes the lead, but only just.
Yeah, and Dennis Diaz is going to have the advantage of warm tires, as he's got a full lap of racing under anger on that set of, they didn't take tires, so they just ran fuel only, as we're going to have a very tight race here. Dennis Diaz and Paul Skip running pretty much nose to tail, not much separation between them.
Yeah.
Maybe 10, 12 car lengths.
But even if you're sitting still for a couple of minutes in your pit stall, the heat does go out the tires very quickly sometimes, and you still have to get that heat back in when you get back out on track. So Paul Skip needs to get the heat back into those Michelins and get back up to the back of Dennis Diaz if he wants any chance of winning this race here tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be, I got to wait till they cross the start-finish line to see where timing and scoring is going to cycle them back out.
as there goes Dennis Diaz.
Dennis Diaz makes his way around Marcus Osborne.
Yeah. Up to third place now, interestingly enough, is Tony Watson. Now, he needs to be careful going through there because obviously he's got Oliver Vorotniak as well that's out on track. And right behind them as well is another man that's most recently made his pit stop and taken his fast repair, Terry Calger Jr. And with a fully functioning car, we've already seen what Terry Calger Jr. can do.
Yeah, Terry Calger Jr. is no slouch behind the wheel, let me tell you, as he's going to be able to start picking him up, putting him down, but he is 10 seconds behind our leader, Dennis Diaz, who's got a 1.5 second advantage on Paul Skip. Tony Watson cycles out in third, and Oleg Vorotniak, he came out in the fourth position.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, Tony Watson is our biggest mover on in the entire field here tonight. He is up, and Sports is right in front of him. Goes Jeff White sideways and almost taking out the Brumos Porsche.
Oh my God! What? That was some driving, some avoidance skills happening right there.
Let's go back and see what happened to Jeff White there. The GT3 with BMW just losing it going through that first of the two right-handers, and thankfully Tony Watson able to avoid it, and thankfully Jeff White going to the inside of the track there and avoiding the rest of the traffic that was bearing down on him.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that wasn't just a little too much rear brake bias dialed into the car as he got on the binders real hard, and it just, brought that rear end right around as he was, yeah, boy, that was a tight one.
Yeah, as we are going to take a look at the GT3 action right now. Michael McCoy now 13 seconds ahead of Matthew Lemoncelli. A very, very big lead there for the man that's won 2 races already this season. One at VIR, one at Mid-Ohio, and looking to win here at Road Atlanta. Retired at Hockenheim, and that's why he's not leading the point standings right now. That honour going to Matthew Lemoncelli, who as I mentioned earlier, Byron, 3 second places in a row to open the open the season.
Yeah, and it looks like he's well on his way to a fourth second place in a row. By the looks of it, Michael McCoy, if he keeps that car under him and keeps it, the fenders straight on it, has just got the pace just a little faster than Lemoncelli. But like I said earlier, I have seen league seasons go by where the league winner or the season champion never won a race, but he was so consistent in that top 5, in that top 3, it just gave him the points to take the title.
Absolutely. As we go past the 41-minute mark in this race now, and we've had an incident for Bryce Anderson. Now, Anderson had a difficult start to this race, and it's just got more difficult for him as we go to a replay right here as he's coming down the hill towards the first of the 2 right-handers, and Anderson just pulled it over.
Maybe he had a technical issue with the machine. I don't know. I have seen that happening. Some of the times we just took another update on iRacing today, and sometimes when they give those patch updates, there might be a little glitch. It messes with your hardware a little bit, as it looks like Bryce Anderson has put it on the hauler for the day.
Yeah, he is out. So that's 3 retirements already this race. Actually, 1 non-starter and 2 retirements. Gary Schilling retiring on lap 1 in the Mercedes GT3. Bryce Anderson just retiring there, and Richard Sullivan not taking the green in his BMW. So that's 3 retirements for 3 GT3 cars, and I believe Mark Dillon might be done though as well, because he's been in pit road. Actually, Mark Dillon's just jumped to pit road again. His difficult night continuing.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at the race lead in GTE class. Dennis Diaz is starting to step it out a little bit more over Paul Skip. I'm thinking that it's lap traffic that's causing Paul the issues. Dennis Diaz having a little bit easier time getting around the GT3 class than Paul is.
Yeah, Tony Watson still in 3rd place after his scare earlier with Jeff White going off in front of him. He's managing to get away from Oleg Vorotniak, and behind them Terry Calger Jr. has lost a lot of ground here. He was right on the back of Vorotniak after the pit stop, but just has completely fallen away and is slowly but surely fallen into the clutches of Ryan Tyler.
Yeah, Terry Calger Jr. is having a real tough time with lap traffic. I was watching him that last lap. He had a couple of cars that he just could not find the space to get around. As they're racing their race, which, the GT3 class, that is their job. Race their race, run their line. And Terry Calgar Jr. got held up by it, but now he's got clear track ahead of him for a good little piece. We'll see if he can make up some time.
Absolutely. There's not really any battles going on right now, unless you're Dallas Sullivan, who's chasing down Rex Hoyle, and there's Mercedes on Mercedes crime here going into the chicane, and a big dive by Dallas Sullivan on Rex Hoyle, taking away that position. Sullivan moving up to 7th.
Yeah, that was a real bold move under braking that he was able to get it done. He timed it up just right, got the move, got the pass accomplished, and now looks like he's putting some distance in between himself and the car.
Yeah, so that, I will admit, that yellow Mercedes looks very nice as Jack Gunsick goes off again through the S's this time. And
got a message from Bryce Anderson. I talked to him coming out of the care center. Had suspension damage from a crash into the wall coming off the S-curves and didn't have the repair to take care of it. And that caused early retirement for the machine of Bryce Anderson. Sorry to see that happen.
Yeah, we've just seen an incident for Timothy Emanuele as well. Oh, and Tony Watson trying to get around him. And Emanuele, I'm not sure if he didn't see if he was there or what, but coming up for the S's now, we're seeing it from a faraway camera, and it looked like Emanuele just tried to shut the door on Tony Watson, but Watson was already onto his inside.
Yeah, Watson, he's all in the mail. He's racing for position, but it looks like, and that's allowed Oleg to get around, to move, keep right there in front of him, as the battle between Oleg and Watson is starting to heat up a little bit more.
Yeah, and Vorotniak able to get ahead because of that incident between Watson and Emanuele. Now they're coming through the S's once again, and look who's right there again, Terry Calgar Jr. joining this party. Ryan Tyler not too far behind either. We're going to have a four-way battle for P3 if well, if this carries on. I can't speak, I promise.
Yeah, this race is continuing on. We have hit the halfway mark. Cross flags are in the air. 45 down, folks. 45 minutes to go.
Yep, I'm with it. Halfway to go. That always means one thing. We are going to take our halfway break in this race. So if you're watching, please do not go anywhere. We've got a lot more racing action coming your way. We still have 28 drivers still running in this race. Maybe that 27, maybe because Mark Dillon doesn't seem to be running anymore. But we do have more racing action coming your way. Another 45 minutes. Do not want to go anywhere because you're not going to want to miss it. We'll be right back.
And back to Road Atlanta, ladies and gentlemen, as we come back to a battle for third place. It used to be a three-way dance for third place. Don't look now, it is a four-man dance for that third position, as we have four GTE cars slicing and cutting their way through the slower GT3 traffic. Terry Calgar Jr. has the spot right now. Oleg Vorotniak, he wants it. Ryan Tyler and Tony Watson are all over the back of them. As I have been watching during the break, we were having three wide, and at one point, headed for the final chicane, four wide action with slower cars in the middle of it. As this battle for third position, last spot on the podium, is really heated up, Sam.
Yeah, it has, and Terry Calgar Jr. able to get away ever so slightly whilst you were talking about that, and very good advantage there for Calgary as he comes up to the back of Jack Gunset. But Oleg Vorotniak, Ryan Tyler and Tony Watson still going at it behind him.
Yeah, it's been a four-way dance for this last little bit. And the skill that I've seen racing, I didn't see anyone run into anyone intentionally, but I have seen the chrome horn, a little bit of bump, hey, I'm here, just like they were in a NASCAR position while they were on that straightaway as they hustle it off to that final chicane again. A train of four for the third position.
Yeah, and you see it right there. All four of them still within touching distance of each other. Vorotniak has actually closed the gap again to Terry Calgar Jr. So these four still in lockstep as they start another lap here. They're on lap 41 of 50 of probably about 60 or 70 here.
Well, don't forget, we're going to have to see another pit stop. And like you said, the owner of the league, Mark Dillon Jr., the genius that he is, just extending 10 more minutes to the endurance race makes it a two-stop race on these guys. And now they're going to have a major decision. Am I going for fuel only for that last stop, or am I going to take fresh rubber and look for time? Because our race leader, Dennis Diaz, his last lap was a 1:16.782, and remember, he qualified a 1:16.338, 0.4 of a second fall off, but I'm going to attribute that to working lap traffic. I don't think they're going to be taking rubber, Sam. What's your opinion?
They possibly will have to, because obviously there still is a very rough track on tires, is Road Atlanta, and they're going to have to deal with it as best as they can and try and make the rubber last, but I don't think it will last. Those Michelins will not last the full distance. They will have to change tires in the second round of pit stop. As we're looking at Paul Skip right now, the gap kind of leveled out right now between those two, between himself and Dennis Diaz, staying at about somewhere in the 5.3, 5.5 second range.
Yeah, Ryan Tyler's managed to get around Oleg Vorotniak and Tony Watson to move himself up to the fourth position. But the fight is still on between these three cars as Terry Calgar Jr. has started to leg it out just a little bit over these three.
Yeah, he's been held up ever so slightly by Daniel Barnett. Barnett in the 67. Doing okay in that GT3 car, sitting 10th in class right now. Battling it out with Cody Atkins, but that one was going to be interrupted by Calgar Jr., who just split the two of them.
Yeah, Calgar, he's looking to make up as much ground as he can. He had, he had some early race interesting things go on. Battled his way back up to that third position, albeit almost 20 seconds off in the lead. But what a recovery from the driver of the 911.
Yeah, had that incident with Brad McCombs, and McCombs back in P7 right now, and he's just making his way around Jack Gunset. Very unfortunate for McCombs. Not being able to recover since that incident. I don't think he's even burned a fast repair through his pit stop.
He might be wanting to hang on to that fast repair. Might be saving it for the end. McCombs just piloting that Corvette around the track, just keeping it slow, keeping his pace steady. Still on the lead lap, 36 seconds off of the leader, Dennis Diaz, who's opened up that gap over Paul Skip by about, 5 seconds by my timing and scoring.
Yeah, it's actually coming down slightly. It was 5.5 seconds about a lap ago. Now it's 5.1 seconds between Diaz and Skip. So Skip starting to pick up the speed ever so slightly and starting to close down, but he's now coming across that traffic that Diaz had to deal with just a second ago.
Yeah, now your strategy cap needs to come out. Now your thinking cap needs to go on, Sam. If you're crew chief in this thing, and you know you're going to be coming up for your last stop, we already talked about it, probably going to take rubber on that last stop, but do you want to be the first car to blink, Sam, when you hit your fuel window, or do you want to be the last car to blink? Basically, you want to go for the over or the undercut?
That's a big question here as we look back at the battle for 4th place between Ryan Tyler, Oleg Vorotniak and Tony Watson. These guys not letting each other get away. They're a clear 11 seconds ahead of McComb, so no threat from behind. They can just battle it out between themselves. The only problem is they've let 3rd place get away whilst they've been battling amongst each other. Calgar is about 3 seconds up the road now.
Yeah, once Calgar was able to clear that battle of 4 cars, he's able to start legging it out. And but he's still got his work cut out for him. He's got a big deficit to make up the 2nd place Paul Skip.
Yeah, 15 seconds the gap, but crucially, that gap has come down slightly since he's gone away. He is stuck behind Paul Boyle right now, and he will get around the Englishman as Boyle just lets him have it. Boyle currently sitting in P3 in the GT3 class right now, having a good run here tonight in that number 14 BMW.
Yeah, Paul Boyle, he's looking at a podium finish. He's just keeping it on the track. He's doing what endurance racing's all about, running consistent, keeping the car under him and keeping the fenders straight.
And here we go, 2nd round of pit stops have already started. Tyler Langenberg has been in pit road, and I don't think he took tyres that time around, so you might be right here, Byron. Tyler Langenberg not taking tyres this 2nd time around.
Well, that is going to give him a big boost in track position if the leaders decide to take rubber. I'm going to wait to see if Dennis Diaz, when he comes into his pits, along with Paul Skip and Terry Calgar Jr., to see what their strategy call is going to be. As this thing is going to unfold, it's going to come down to strategy and who blinks when they bring it to pit stop. First one to bring it in, he came in on his fuel window when it first opened up, as these guys have decided to keep it out on the track and leg it out a little bit more.
And Langenberg about to be lapped by Dennis Diaz here. So might not give him a strategy that takes him to the lead, because here comes Diaz. But Diaz, like you mentioned, still has to take it down pit road. Might still have to take tyres here as they both put a lap on Zachary Nurnberger.
Yeah, both of those Corvettes sending it around the Lamborghini. Kind of makes me proud to say as an American, that Corvette is going around the Lamborghini. But we both know when I'm not driving a Corvette come Spa. What are we running at Spa, Sam?
We are driving the BMW M4 GT3.
GT3, crime on crime going to happen at Spa. And that BMW does handle pretty nice around there. I raced a BMW GTE when I ran with these guys. And the GT3, I just love the shift points better on that car.
Yeah, we need to get testing very soon. When you get back, as soon as you get back, we're going to hit the track pretty hard, as we've got pit stops happening already at the front, as Terry Calgar Jr. is in pit road. Same for Paul Skip as well. He's going to try and get the jump on Dennis Diaz, but crucially, do they take tyres in this one? We're going to find out right now. No, Paul Skip does not take tyres.
No, and I've got my eyes on Terry Calgar Jr. He's in his pit stall. Fuel is going in, and I do not see tires going on.
Tyler and Watson are in as well. As no tyres for Calgar.
No tires.
No tyres for Tyler and no tyres for Watson, so they're going to go the whole race on this one set of tyres, as it looks like we might be expecting Dennis Diaz to respond, and he does. He's in pit road.
Yep, it happened the last time. They pit, Paul Skip pit, he was pit from the lead a lap before Dennis Diaz did, and Dennis Diaz was able to get the undercut on him and got around him on pit exit. We're going to have to see where this one cycles out.
Yep, Oleg Vorotniak will be looking to bring it down pit road as well, and he doesn't bring it down pit road, so Vorotniak opting to stay out a bit longer, may have a bit more fuel in the car, it seems.
Well, if he has a bit more fuel in the car, that will work out for him. Because I do believe he had clear track ahead of him where he did not have to battle lap traffic. So he's going to be able to get around without having the slowdowns that these other cars have seen. Dennis Diaz, as he makes his pit exit, we'll have to see where this cycles out.
And Paul Skip not able to get the jump on Dennis Diaz. Diaz gets out a good 2 seconds ahead of Paul Skip right now. So Skip not able to do the undercut, but did gain a good 2.3, 2.4 seconds on the number 420.
Now we're gonna see, is Paul Skip gonna be able to work that traffic? How much pressure is he gonna be able to put on Dennis Diaz? And is he gonna be able to push the car even harder than Dennis Diaz? That's gonna be a story that we're gonna find out probably in about 29 more minutes by my clock.
Another fastest lap of the race in GT3 for Michael McCoy. He is out to a massive lead over Matthew Lemoncelli. Lemoncelli is just coming through the start-finish line. Michael McCoy is just coming up the hill now. He's actually on the backstretch right now. So no, he's not. He's just coming to the first of the two right-handers. So that's how far the distance is between Lemoncelli and McCoy right now. 26 seconds between the two.
McCoy just putting on a masterful show in the GT3 class, letting you know what can be done with this car. As he has just took the field to the woodshed and said, this is the standard you all need to shoot for, and I'm making my statement now.
Absolutely, as there is Lemoncelli. He's got a good 47 seconds over Paul Boyle, who's in third place right now. And Boyle, interestingly, is about to be lapped by Michael McCoy. McCoy, though, has not taken it down pit road yet, and Paul Boyle has. And Boyle just going to let him have it. So Michael McCoy has lapped up to second place now. He's lapped almost the entire GT3 field now.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with Oleg. Oleg, did he have an incident or an off track? He's only got an 11-second lead on Brad McCombs, who's been to pit road where Oleg hasn't.
McCombs has not been down pit road yet.
Oh, he has not? Well, Dennis Diaz has, and Dennis Diaz is right on the back of McCombs right now.
Yeah, and that shows you how much time McCombs lost with that incident with Terry Carragher Jr. and through pit stops as well. So McCombs probably going to be a sitting duck here, but has the lighter fuel load in his car, but still has to make it down pit road as well. So McCombs definitely on the back foot in this one.
If Oleg Vorotniak, he has yet to bring it pit side. He only has a 10-second or 11-second lead over Dennis Diaz, your race leader. Your effective race leader, as soon as the first two decide to bring it to pit side finally. Haven't seen it yet.
As we look at the battle between McCombs and Diaz. And Diaz doesn't really need to get by him right now. All he has to do is just be patient and wait for McCombs to bring it down pit road, and he'll be back up there. But doesn't want to be held up by McCombs because Paul Skip is still going at it, albeit now 4 seconds behind the 420.
Right. Dennis Diaz, he's going to be watching that relative. He's not going to push the issue with McCombs if he doesn't have to. But if Paul Skip starts closing that gap, I would look for Dennis Diaz to become a lot more aggressive to get around McCombs.
There goes Skip down the backstretch now towards the chicane. We're going to take a look at Ryan Tyler now, as he still, he's managed to get away from Tony Watson. Watson very slow after that second pit stop and has fallen off the back of Ryan Tyler, as
boy, did they have one heck of a battle earlier in the race for that spot, man.
Yeah, they did, but it's slowly petered out now, and it's unfortunate to see, but it happened. As we look at Jesse Brandon now sitting in P8 in GTE. He is in a battle with Tyler Langenberg, though, and that's going to be an interesting battle to see between the two Corvettes.
Corvette seems to be the car of the day here at Road Atlanta for the GTE class. As these guys are putting on a driver's clinic, we've seen the incidents happen on the track, the mental mistakes, but overall, Sam, when's the last time you saw a road race with this many cars go with this pretty much incident-free, with these kind of battles, with that close racing going on? We saw 3, almost 4 wide heading off to that final chicane.
That we have, as Marcus Osborne has brought it down to pit road in GT3. He's here for his first pit stop. He was in P4, he was in P5 actually in GT3. He's just lost a couple of positions because of the pit stops. Rex Oil and Safe Ferries has managed to get around him through that pit stop. Ferries has, I believe, already taken it down pit road, so Osborne losing out there. Dallas Sullivan, Paul Boyle's taking it down. Dallas Sullivan has not. Matthew Lemoncelli and Michael McCoy still yet to bring it down pit road as well.
Yeah, Matthew Lemoncelli, Like I said earlier, when you told me about 3 second-place finishes for the first 3 races of the year, well on his way to a second-place overall finish again. Wow. Bridesmaid, no bride.
Yeah, it's going to take something for him to get knocked off that pedestal next week. As next week we head to, just give me 2 seconds and I'll let you know. Next week we head to Sebring, and we all know what happened last season when we went to Sebring. Very interesting race there at that point.
Yeah, Sebring, very interesting track. It's I don't know, what's the best way to describe that track? It's a flowing track. It's doesn't have the elevation changes that we're seeing here at Road Atlanta. It is a very fun track to drive, but it's also very demanding mentally on the drivers.
Looking at Tony Watson right there, trying to make his way around the Ferraris. That's Dave Ferrara. He's just got around Sean Atkins. He already put a move on to put a lap on him as well. So Tony Watson still flying around the track right now. As Daniel Barnett, the latest visitor to pit road, he's out on track again. As Chris Lawson had an incident. There is the battle for second place between Brad McCombs and Dennis Diaz. Now we've already mentioned and we've already made it pretty clear that this is not really a battle for position between these two.
No, this is a battle. I don't know, if Oleg missed when people were pitting, or if this was a planned strategy. Same thing with Brad McCombs. At this point, all they could do is try to hope to leg it out to make it to the end, but I do not think they have enough fuel, because we've got, 20-something minutes left in this thing.
Yeah, Tyler Langenberg now out in the clear after Jesse Brannon took it down pit road for his second pit stop. So Langenberg pretty safe in 8th place right now overall, as he's got Michael McCoy right behind him, just put a lap on him. So Langenberg not doing too badly out on track right now. It is close. It is very much mixed in with that GT3 traffic right now.
Wow, dive bomb move by Dennis Diaz to go around Brad McCombs. Brad McCombs falling back to 3rd place respectively as it's being scored right now, as Dennis Diaz got around him and he set sail to see if he can catch Oleg Vorotniak.
And the gap between Vorotniak and Diaz is 8.6 seconds, made that 8.7 seconds. Vorotniak still able to pull away here, despite not actually taking that second pit stop yet.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering, it looks to me like Oleg is flat on a mission to find out where the bottom of that fuel tank is.
Yeah, and you see Dennis Diaz mired in GT3 traffic right now. That's Matthew Lemoncelli. He's going to put a lap on, and Chris Lawson right ahead of him. Lawson's had a few problems in the last couple of laps and has been off track a few times. He's going to let Diaz through, but McCombs is going to get caught right behind both Lemoncelli and Lawson as they come down the hill.
Oh, McCombs takes it wide. He decides to mow the grass a little bit. Needs to be careful. That could have been all ugly if that would have got that rear suspension upset.
That's absolutely true, as McCombs does finally get around him. Does get around Lawson, doesn't get around Lemoncelli though. Lemoncelli's still able to stay ahead of him for now, as we're still waiting for pit stops from Oleg Vorotniak, Brad McCombs, and I believe Robert Garcia has yet to make it. No, Michael McCoy is not taking it down pit road yet, neither has Matthew Lemoncelli. Dallas Sullivan, Rex Hoyle, Chris Lawson, Jeff Height, Cody Atkins, those are the drivers that have not taken it down pit road yet. Still plenty more pit stops to come here, but not really any strategy battles going on right now. Those have been pretty much been over and done with for a while now.
Yeah, it's going to be position battle. It's going to be if Paul Skip has got the gumption to find himself to be able to get to the back of Dennis Diaz in the GTE class, and the in the GT3 class, Michael McCoy, he has just run away with it. Lemoncelli, he's got himself a pretty good lead over Paul Boyle. Looks like we pretty much settled out the top 3 spots in the top two classes.
We do have a battle in GT3 though. That is the battle for P7 between Keith Roycroft and Cody Atkins. Atkins is slowly trying to close that gap on the 48 as they come down the backstretch here. BMW on BMW crime right here as they come down to the chicane.
Yep, and our race leader at the time was Oleg Vorotniak. He has elected finally to bring it in pit lane, and he is now exiting pits. We'll have to see where he cycles out.
He's going to cycle out right next to Ryan Tyler here. Here comes Tyler out of turn one, gets out ahead of him, but I feel Ryan Tyler's going to be going at him from this point onwards. Obviously, you already mentioned it. Well, you already mentioned it. If you go into pit road, you may not change your tyres, but you still lose the heat in those tyres. Tyler has that heat right now. Vorotniak's going to need at least half a lap to get the heat back into his.
Yeah, and these tires, you know, hats off to iRacing. When they came with these new tire models in this last release, they simulate heat cycles so well. As these things, as they cool off in pit lane, you didn't change them, but they cooled off, and they take a different bit of a characteristic when you get back out on track as they go through that heat cycle, and they don't come back to the way they were. They come back to something just a little different.
Yep. As they come down the backstretch right now, Vorotniak still looks like he might have the legs over him as Brad McCombs finally brings it to pit road, gets into his pit stall right about, well, he's going through all the pit stalls right now as he does finally stop in his own. And it looks like he might have already taken his fast repair because he doesn't seem like the car has fixed itself right there. So he's just going to come in for some fresh fuel. But crucially, he's going to lose out to Vorotniak and Ryan Tyler as they both sail on by while he's in pit road.
Yeah, and another thing I just noticed, Sam, it didn't look like he spent the time on pit lane that he did the last time. So they're not taking a full load of fuel. They're taking just enough to make it to the end.
Yeah, very quickly out of pit road was Brad McCombs. Take a look at your GT3 field right now. Michael McCoy out to a massive lead over Matthew Lemoncelli, who both of those drivers still not taking it down pit road yet. Paul Boyle has taken it down pit road. We've had an incident for Robert Garcia, meanwhile. He took it off track about just a couple of seconds ago. Let's take another look and see what happened here. It's through the tighter of the two right-handers. Just went a bit wide there.
Yep, this is the time in an endurance race. You've been behind the wheel for over an hour, and mental mistakes, you know, physically, yeah, you're not feeling the G-forces in the simulation. You're in your sim rig, so to speak, but you do have mental exhaustion. It does wear you out behind the wheel in this thing. Concentration starts to lag. You miss your corner entry, you miss your corner exit, and that's exactly what happened. Just got it a little wide on that corner. Yeah,
and we're just cycling through the GT3 field here right now. Rex Hoyle currently sitting in P5 right now. The battle between Atkins and Roycroft, well, that's petered out because the battle is over. Atkins able to get around
John Atkins
Roycroft.
Put it on the hauler.
John Atkins?
John Atkins is on the hauler.
Well, that's actually pretty shocking. Atkins was doing pretty well for a while as he's now out. We're going to go back and take a look at the pass for position between Cody Atkins and Roycroft, and well, that was over pretty quickly as Roycroft got it all wrong going down through the S's, and that was just an easy pass there for Cody Atkins.
Yep, and that's what I'm saying. It's that mental issue, that mental fatigue starting to take place. As I don't know if I'm go back to the front of the GTE class. Dennis Diaz is starting to leg it out over Paul Skip a lot more. 7 seconds the last time they crossed the line.
Yeah, it's just gone down to 6.9, so Skip able to take a couple of tenths out through the early part of this course as they're coming down through the S's, just as Dennis Diaz is exiting the S's. So that's what 7 seconds, 6.9 seconds look like. As here comes Matthew Lemoncelli, he finally takes it down pit road.
Well, I'm going to take a look to see if he just takes fuel only, or does he decide to go ahead and put some rubber on it.
Well, he's got a big
He
enough lead.
almost put rubber on it. Yeah, I was going to say he almost put rubber on it, but he's not. So they are going to complete a full hour and a half of racing out here on a single set of Michelins.
Cody Atkins in pit road as well. He's finally coming to take his second stop. Roycroft stays out, as I believe Roycroft actually has been down for his second stop. So Roycroft really didn't need to be battling with Cody Atkins like he was.
No, Michael McCoy, he is in pit for his final stop right now as we're coming up on just past 15 minutes to go in this thing. 14 minutes left. Just enough fuel for Michael McCoy to finish the race. Mark Dillon Jr. has put it on the hauler.
Yeah, we only have 26 drivers left in this race now, and it's unfortunate to see those guys go. Well, one of them didn't even start, so unfortunate, but it's all part of racing here as Michael McCoy is back out of pit road. A very healthy lead over Matthew Lemoncelli, who's still only just making his way through the chicane as McCoy, he's just come out of the S's, so that's how big the lead is between first and second and GT3.
Yeah, it's about a, what, mile and a half?
Pretty much, almost half a lap. Paul Boyle still sitting in third place, though. He is only, well, we're going to find out how far behind he is in just a second once my time in the scoring catches up. 9 seconds. It's only 9 seconds behind Lemoncelli, but Boyle has burned off a lot more fuel than Lemoncelli. This might be interesting for Boyle here because he's got a much lighter fuel load, whereas Lemoncelli just took on fuel, much heavier car underneath him than the driver of the 14.
Well, I'm going to wait till Lemoncelli gets across the start-finish line on this lap because he's got, it'll give me his lap time. Because Paul Boyle, he ran a 120.581 on his last lap by, and this is going to be the first lap on anger for Lemoncelli as he brings it down to the final chicane.
And that's Roycroft behind him. Obviously a lap down, so
this will give us an idea of whether Boyle has the pace, for in the time left, because we're only 13 minutes left in this thing.
Oh wow! Oh no, Boyle gets it wrong through the chicane. That's going to cost him. Just went a bit too fast and it just didn't want to turn for him going through that final part of the chicane. Went over the grass. He did get the gap down to just under 9 seconds to about 8.8 seconds. Now the gap between Boyle and Lemoncelli back up to 10 seconds.
Yeah, I don't think he has the pace to make up 10 seconds in the time left in the race because we've only got 12 minutes left.
And we've had a big incident here for Daniel Barnett that's coming up through the S's. Let's take a look and see. And went a bit too far wide on the exit of the S's through that left-hander. Just got it all wrong. Didn't hit anything, thankfully. But a very scary incident through that part of the course.
Way off track again, as he loops it in the middle of the track.
Take another look at the replay. Yeah, he does. Just, wow, that is way off track. Barnett are not having a good lap this time round. As Tony Watson's gone off track as well now.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. This is the mental fatigue time. You know what? We would normally be hitting the end of this race right now if we were under our normal time.
Oh, something was going on around here. Sorry, I apologize to cut you off there, Byron, but Robert Garcia going off track here, and Tony Watson was caught up in it. Let's take another look and see. Garcia lost it. You see Jeff Height in the background there trying to recover, and now Garcia's going to come round here. And just at the same time, Jeff Height gets it all wrong and spins again. Tony Watson comes around again and gets tagged by Robert Garcia and off the track. And oh my goodness me, that was bad place, bad time there for Tony Watson. And Watson, I believe, was put it on the hauler.
Yep, Tony Watson is officially out and on the hauler. Man, we saw a big-time battle with him earlier in the race. They were battling for that third spot. And just bad luck, wrong place, wrong time, as taking him out. And that's how things can change right towards the end of these things. As by my timer, we're 8 minutes to go.
Yeah, 8 minutes and, well, just under 9 minutes left to go as we are looking at Paul Skip right now. Still in second place, but the gap, he's got the gap down to 7.6 seconds now between himself and Dennis Diaz, so he's still trying to close that gap to the leader. Probably going to run out of time to do it though, because yeah, like you said, we've got less than 10 minutes to go, and it's going to take a lot to catch that number 420 right now.
Yeah, the last lap that Dennis ran, he was a 1:16.762 and a 1:18 for Paul Skip, getting caught up in that lap traffic. Dennis Diaz has just found a way to slice through the slower traffic a little more efficiently than his competition here at Road Atlanta.
Yeah. As Terry Calgar Jr. looking like he might be able to get third place here, but this battle between Ryan Tyler and Oleg Vorotniak, we missed it completely because we were so focused on the incidents going on around the track. Ryan Tyler was able to get around Oleg Vorotniak.
Yeah, and he's starting to leg it out a little bit more over Oleg. As Oleg is starting to fall back into the clutches of Brad McCombs again.
Yeah, so Ryan Tyler in fourth, Vorotniak in fifth, McCombs in P6, Langenberg up to seventh, Jesse Brannon in eighth, and Robert Garcia, after his incident with Tony Watson, now on to P9. Michael McCoy has for the first time cracked the top 10 overall. He is out to a 37-second lead over Matthew Lemoncelli now. So unless the wheels completely fall off it, Michael McCoy is looking for his third race win of the season here.
Yeah, and that's going to bring him up in the points. He's going to have 3 wins in 4 races as opposed to Matthew Lemoncelli's 4 seconds in 4 races. That'll be, you know what? Because McCoy lost, he had to retire in that one race. That's going to tighten that points battle up. It's going to be interesting to see where that shakes out.
Yeah, we'll find out how it does shake out once the points are all in. But right now, it is all McCoy, it is all Diaz, and barring a miracle, barring any kind of disaster, Paul Skip is not going to catch Dennis Diaz, as somewhere along the line Paul Skip has lost 2 seconds to Diaz and is now 9.2 seconds behind.
Yeah, and I just think, just by watching, going back in between these two cars, it's just Dennis Diaz is a little more aggressive at getting around that lap traffic than Paul Skip is, and Dennis has just got this track mapped out. He knows exactly where he wants to make his pass, so he holds that distance way behind the car and then gets a run on that slower car headed to the corner. He wants to make that pass. With Paul Skip, I haven't noticed him doing that.
Cody Atkins in a battle once again. This time he's battling for 9th place in class ahead of against Zachary Nürnberger. Lamborghini versus BMW as they make their way down the main straight here towards the chicane here. Now let's go to see if the big car versus the flat car is going to win. Who's going to win between the big car versus the flat car?
Well, the flat car looks a little wider than the big car, but the big car looks a little meaner than the flat car. So it is flat car against big car, crime on crime, as you would say, as it looks like we're going to have a battle for this position. It's really heated up as he's pulled it alongside, almost.
As they make their way up the hill after going through turn 1, Zachary Nürnberger are going to put the block on Cody Atkins right now as they come down through the S's. Jack Gunsett around again at the top of the hill. As they come down through the S's and up again to this very tricky left-hander, and looks like Nürnberger actually has the speed advantage over Cody Atkins at this point.
Well, Nürnberger used all of that corner at the top of the hill where Cody did not, but Cody is able to just fly right back up to the rear wing of that Lamborghini so much, through the slower corners. It looks like one car has an advantage at one part of the track over the other car, but the other car is able, Cody Atkins is able to get right up to the rear wing.
Yeah, and this is one thing we've seen all night from Cody Atkins. He's proved that he can be a bit of a fighter. He's been in a lot of battles tonight, and this one proving to be another one. We've got another battle brewing up a bit further up the track. We did have another battle brewing up further up the track. Oleg Vorotniak I thought was closing in, but my time in the scoring is playing up. So we're going to go back to the battle between Nürnberger and Atkins looking around the outside going into turn one.
Yeah, Atkins, he got a little hard on the brakes.
Oh,
Looks
Atkins
like he's gonna lose as he goes off track.
Oh, big disappointment there for Cody Atkins. He had Nürnberger right in his sights and will have completely thrown that away now. He will not get 9th place. Still going to be happy with top 10 in GT3, but definitely going to be disappointed with that little off right there.
It looked like he went for a late apex turn so he can make that undercut going through the second right-hander there, as he just got it wrong, carried too much momentum and cost him that track position. But it looked like he was trying to set him up for a crossover, and it just did not work out. No,
it did not. So Atkins going to have to settle for 10th place here. He's got a decent gap over Daniel Barnett, actually over a minute of a gap ahead of Daniel Barnett. So Atkins not doing too badly at all, as we are less than 3 minutes to go in this race, and it's Dennis Diaz that has been in control since the last round of pit stops, and well, since just before the last round of pit stops, capitalizing on mistakes further up the field. And well, he's had his own incident of his own. He was spun around through the chicane on lap 2, so
he lost a ton of track position very early in the race. And this is a lesson, folks, endurance racing: never give up, never say quit, stay after it. And you saw that epic charge up through the field where Dennis Diaz was able to catch Paul Skip. They swapped positions on an undercut in the actually it was an overcut actually on a pit strategy that put Dennis Diaz in the top spot, and he hasn't looked back since.
Yep, and as is I noticed that he's, well, I don't know if you noticed, he's got that banner on the top of his windshield that says "move over," but in reverse. That's so the drivers in the GT3 class can see it and actually
I wonder who put that there.
It was actually Dennis that gave me that idea, so never mind. Maybe Cody Atkins might get that 9th place, because Zachary Nürnberger's had a big incident here, Byron. Got it all wrong through the second of the right-handers, went completely around, and maybe, just maybe, it was Nürnberger that has thrown away that 9th place after all. So Cody Atkins, despite his off, has been gifted that 9th place now.
Yep, and that's that mental fatigue I was talking about taking over. Just pushing, as Nürnberger bringing it pit side.
Yeah, probably not happy with his tyres. As here we go. Final lap now for Dennis Diaz. White flag is in the air here at Road Atlanta. And it's been a very up and down race for the Mehmet as he brings it up to the S's. A spin after contact with Terry Kauger in the first couple of laps, but has since then been driving like a man possessed. Got the lead back after further mistakes up ahead of him, involving the man that put him in the kitty, Terry Kauger and Brad McCombs. And after that, just really just took it to the rest of the guys and got that lead back through the first round of pit stops, and has not looked back ever since. He's been in absolute control here at Road Atlanta, despite everything that's happened to him. It's going to come home 11 seconds, make that 12 seconds to the good over Paul Skip. Dennis Diaz only has that one small obstacle in front of him, the chicane, to get out of the way, and he will pick up his second race win of the season. The first ever race win in the first ever race in the Mehmet here at Road Atlanta. Up the hill, down through the final 2 turns, the penultimate turn now, the final turn now, and it's going to be Dennis Diaz winning at Road Atlanta. A great victory, a great comeback there by the 420.
Yep, as Michael McCoy he's got the BMW in the GT3 class well ahead of Matthew Lemoncelli for that second place, as Matthew McCoy is working his final lap right now, looking to bring it home. In the top spot in the GT3 class. It's going to be interesting to see how the points shake out. This will be race number 3 of the 4th race of the season. We had a 1-race retirement for him. Matthew Lemoncelli is going to be 4 races into the season, 4 second places as Matthew McCoy brings it into the final chicane, making it for the last time around. All he has to do is make one more corner over the hill, brings it to the start-finish line, makes that last corner the right-hander, give it to Matthew McCoy, or Michael McCoy, for the GT3 class.
And you mentioned it right there, Matthew Lemoncelli already crossed the line before that. He's going to get his 4th second place in a row, and a fantastic race all around. And we knew coming into this one it was going to be a challenge for the drivers. Dennis Diaz had that challenge as well, but still came back and absolutely walked over the opposition.
Can you imagine the mental fatigue you must be feeling right now, Sam, if you're Dennis Diaz or Paul Skip, because you just ran 68 laps under anger at Road Atlanta in these cars on this track for an hour and a half without a let-up?
Absolutely. It's very mentally taxing, as we're looking at Dennis Diaz, who's going to burn them down right now, I believe. And he is. There we go. So Dennis Diaz is going to burn them down here on the start-finish straight at Road Atlanta, and very well-deserved victory there for the 420. Michael McCoy,
and
no burnout.
Debut of the Mimet.
Yeah, and no burnout for Michael McCoy. He just takes it straight back to pit road. Not really much of a showboat as that man in the 33 BMW.
No, but the man in the 420 is one heck of a showboater, as we've seen before, and we'll probably see again as the season progresses. It looks like we're going to have a GTE class top lock, Dennis Diaz and Paul Skip, with some serious battles. And you know what? Terry Calgar Jr., Ryan Tyler, Brad McCombs, and Oleg Vorotniak, those guys get my honorable mention. Almost, I want to lump that whole group as the driver of the night for that massively lapse-long battle for that 3rd position that they had.
That's absolutely right. We're going to get to the interviews in just a second, as we are going to get the updates for you momentarily. Just doing my normal thing, just updating the points as they stand, and we will have them for you in just a second. But firstly, let's go to the interviews, shall we, as we're going to bring in the man that dominated the race. And Byron, you're with him right now.
Oh, man. You know what? Normally I see the Meme MW out there on the track, but this time I saw the Memet, the debut of the Memet here at Road Atlanta. Dennis Diaz, dude, we watched you get into it and have some big, off-track accident early in the race and stayed with it. You got the lead on that pit stop. Dude, how mentally whipped are you after 68 laps of Road America for an hour and a half?
I don't want to see this track ever again. My body is sweating, and it was definitely not expected to win. I don't know how it happened, but I guess I just put my head down, and little did I know I was catching up to everyone. I thought everyone was a lot further ahead. And yeah, the battles were pretty good. I mean, it sucks that Terry hit me, and I saw him spin off later. It would have been another good battle between me and him, like we had last week, but I guess it wasn't meant to be. And at least I got to show off the Memet to you, Byron, since you come back.
Yeah, I saw the debut of the Memet, and I like how you put on the front of the thing, written in reverse, move over for the slower cars in the lower class. It looked like Paul Skip might have been able to have a little something for you, but to me, it looked like you were just able to be more aggressive at slicing through the lap traffic than he was. Was that a strategy call to make that undercut on him on that pit stop that you did? Because you cycled out, were able to come right around him, by pitting one lap ahead of him.
As much as I would say that was planned, it wasn't. I was actually running out of fuel, so it was a mandatory type of stop. It just so happened that when he got out, I was ahead of him.
it didn't look like tire fall off was much of an issue for you because you were turning laps at the end of this race, in that same set of tires, 0.4 of a lap slower than what you qualified. You put on a masterful show, man, and my hat's off to you. You were a prime example of, hey, I got in an early race accident, but this is endurance racing, head down, came back for the win. Congratulations. Anyone you want to shout out to before we let you go celebrate?
Friends, family watching, unexpected win, but this is for you guys. My cat wants to celebrate with me as well. He's jumping on top of me. To Mark for hosting the league, for you guys to broadcasting. Byron, welcome back. And to many more races.
It's been a bit of a break for me, but yeah, I will be here as much as I can on Wednesday, man. I look forward to this league so much because of the show that you guys put on.
Well, I'm glad that at least I got to put on a show for you as well on your debut back with the new car, specifically for ESPN. So they got a win under their cards now.
You're welcome for the paint, by the way.
We're gonna have to talk to him about VSM racing later on, Sam.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we tried to recruit him, but he had other things to do. But anyway,
yeah, I have stuff to do.
All right. Well, Dennis, congratulations. We'll catch you next week at Sebring.
All right, see you guys.
So that was Dennis Diaz joining us in the booth from the winners circle at Road Atlanta. Now joining me in the booth from second place in GTE is Mr. Paul Skip. Now, Paul, you had a good run going there, but even through his incidents, Dennis Diaz was just on another level here tonight.
Yeah, hats off to Dennis. He had the pace, and where he really surprised me was how well he was managing the GT3s this week. I mean, he was just slicing through them like a ninja.
Yeah, that he was, and you ditched the JPS Porsche this week and brought out the Corvette. What was the difference between those two cars? Because obviously it's a BOP thing. Is that what made you change cars for Road Atlanta?
No, the Corvette was doing better on tires, and it was handling the curbs a lot better. I'm used to a more tailored setup with, shocks that are able to just ride those things all the time. So it was a little bit of a change of pace to, not hit the curbs through the S's and coming out of turn 5.
Yeah, and definitely paid off for you again tonight, and it's definitely paying off with regards to the championship battle as well. Obviously, you're getting that win last week at Mid-Ohio, another podium here tonight. Got to give you a lot of confidence with regards to the championship, right?
Yeah, the thing is, he's always consistent. He's always up front, so I'm not going to get my hopes up too much. I never discount Dennis or Terry every week. So, just going to keep trying to keep it up front and see what we can do.
Yeah, and we're going to see what you can do when next week we head to Sebring for the second time in the league's history. What are your thoughts heading into that one? Always a fun time when we head to the Florida track.
Yeah, Sebring is one of my better ones. I got a handful of wins there, including the 12-hour there. There's a lot of Florida guys in this league, though. It's going to be tough playing on their home turf, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to be interesting to see how that one pans out. But for now, good result for yourself there, Paul. Definitely put you up there in the points. Before I let you go, though, anybody you'd like to give a shout out to? Who's responsible for putting that Corvette into the podium here this week?
Well, there's nobody really responsible, but I would like to thank Mark for putting together this league, and I'd like to congratulate my teammate Paul Boyall on his third place in GT3. Good job, buddy.
Absolutely. Great result for both of you in the Samsoi Black team. But anyway, good result, good race for yourself. Go and get some rest, Paul, and we'll catch you next week when we head to Florida and that Sebring track.
Thanks, guys.
As that was Paul Skip joining us from the from second place. Now joining Byron from the winner's circle in GT3 is the man that absolutely ran away with it in that class, Michael McCoy. Byron.
Michael McCoy, I watched you put on a driving clinic in the GT3 class here. You were able to handle this track, Road America, a very technical track with a lot of elevation changes, a lot of
Road
curves.
Atlanta.
Man, 60, yeah, Road Atlanta, sorry. So many, I mean, it has got to be one of the most mentally fatiguing tracks out there to run. Dude, tell me about that race and how you're able to school them on this track.
Oh man, it was a tough race. Safe and Matt were giving me a run for my money at the beginning. Like somehow I wheeled my brake bias all the way down to 47.2, and I went to go hit the brakes into the hairpin and almost lost the rear end. But I just figured if I kept the pressure on Safe, then hopefully he would make a mistake. And then after that happened, I was just trying to break that draft from Matthew, and just get my head down and keep going.
Yeah, well, you know what? Even though I haven't been in the broadcasting booth for the first 3 races of the season, doesn't mean I haven't been paying attention. This is win number 3 with one retirement in a race that you had. Matthew Lemoncelli's got to be wondering, what do I got to do to break that glass ceiling to hit that first place? He's got 4 second places. This is going to tighten up the points race with you guys a lot and move you into a real tight battle going ahead to Sebring. What are your expectations going into next week where we got to handle the bumps?
I was just telling Matt, I love Sebring, but it's not like a track that I've done too well on in the past. I can never get the entry into Sunset right away. So he stay on my tail. He'll have a shot next week. Just trying to minimize mistakes and try to stay ahead and finish on the podium for those points. Hopefully, I made some ground on him tonight, but I'm gonna need somebody to finish ahead of him next week.
Well, you know what? From what I saw tonight, it's going to be an interesting race. It's a lot flatter track at Sebring than the elevation changes here at Road Atlanta. And my hat's off to you the way you wheeled that car, man. You guys make being a broadcaster a fun thing to be. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go celebrate the victory lane?
I appreciate that very much. I just want to say thanks to my wife, so supportive and letting me, turn a ton of laps in practice and not giving me a hard time. Then I want to thank my son and my team, HW Racing, if they're watching, and you guys for, an awesome broadcast, and Mark and Zach for putting on an awesome league.
Well, you know what? It's you guys make it so enjoyable to broadcast. You make our job easy. Congratulations on the victory. Look forward to seeing you next week at Sebring.
All right. Thanks again, guys.
That's your first place winner in the GT3 class, everybody, Michael McCoy.
Yep, and now joining me from second place in GT3, and he's making a very big habit of this, and I'm not sure why he's doing it, but he's doing it anyway. Matthew Lemoncelli, second place for the 4th time in a row. We've got to start calling you Mr. Second Place at this point.
I think that's a good idea. 4 in a row. Let's hope it's not 5. I'm looking to get one more spot forward. That'd be nice.
Well, we just heard from Michael McCoy, and he said he did let us in on a bit of a secret. He said that next week at Sebring might be one of his struggle tracks, so maybe you'll be able to get one better next week.
I'm hoping so. Sebring is one of my favorite tracks, a track that I'm really familiar with. So let's hope turn 17 Sunset Bend just treats me well, and I'll put up as much of a fight as I can. I can promise you that much.
Yeah, and let's talk about your race today. Another quiet race from yourself, just keeping it on the track. A lot of people struggling around you. Again, your car just seemed to be on rails again. Just what is it about these tracks that you're able to just run a silent race and just stay out of trouble?
To be honest with you, I don't know if it's the way that I practice. I just try and get as safe as I possibly can. And I was looking through I try and keep the incidents as low as I can. I don't have the outright number one pace, but keep it on the track, no spins or any type of time losses like that, and I end up getting lucky most of the time.
Yeah, and it's definitely working your way. This will probably keep you at the top of the point standings after this race. But that Michael McCoy, 3 race wins in a row, he's catching up to you as the points battle is starting to tighten up ever so slightly now.
Yep, you're not kidding. And once drop weeks come into play, it's going to be interesting. Michael and I were talking, and there's in 10 weeks you're bound to have at least one bad race. So see how bad mine is when it does finally come, and go from there.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on your fourth second place in a row. We're going to keep giving you grief about that one, but congratulations on that. Before I let you go and celebrate another second place here tonight, Matthew, anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
As always, I'd just like to thank my family. They always watch my stream, and my wife for supporting me. Thank Pony Express Sim Racing. They put on a heck of a series here. I'm loving it. This is my number one main series now, and I'm really enjoying it. So thank you to them as well, and thank you to you guys.
All right. Well, Matthew, congratulations one more time. Another race on the podium. Another week at the top of the point standings. Go away and get some rest, and we'll catch you next week when we head to Florida.
Great, Sam. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
That was Matthew Lemoncelli joining us in the booth from second place once again. And yes, we will be giving him we will be giving him crap about that until he finally does either get up to first or fall off the podium. But Byron, another great race from these guys. These guys just know how to put on a show.
Yeah, and not only another great race from these guys, but look at the field that they put out there. That is a lot of cars to put out on Road Atlanta. With, we saw the incidents on the track, but we didn't see that many that you would expect to see with this many cars racing that tight. Can you imagine? I'm just going back to that battle for third position in the GTE class midway through the race with those guys throwing haymakers for that many laps, working traffic no less. That was just something to see.
Yeah, and it was mainly down that backstretch again when people were making those lapping moves. But when you're trying to do it through the S's and stuff like that, not so easy to do. But people were still making it work anyway. But before we move on, let's take a look at your updated point standings right now. I did update them, and it's making for interesting reading right now, as for some reason it's doing that. Okay, let's go back to number 1. Is it going to let me do it? No. Let's try that again. There we go. And it's tightening up at the top. Terry Calgar Jr. only 2 points ahead of Paul Skip now, but both of them are getting away at the top. Brad McCombs in third place, just ahead of Tyler Langenberg in fourth. Dennis Diaz with that win has moved up to P5 in the points now. Ryan Tyler in P6. Oleg Vorotniak, I don't know if you noticed at the end of the race there, had a big off there, and that's cost him a lot of points now. He's dropped to P10 in points now. Mark Dillon Jr. retiring tonight. Jesse Brannon, a quiet race for him in P8. Tony Watson, despite his Tony Watson with his retirement, he's fallen down to P7 as well. So a lot of movers and shakers in GT Let's take a look at the GT3 standings right now, and Matthew Lemoncelli has extended his lead at the top, but Michael McCoy is right there in second place. The gap is 12 points now between the two. Rex Hoyle in third place, Keith Roycroft in fourth, Marcus Osborne in fifth in the points, joint fifth on points with Paul Boyle, who got a podium here tonight. Zachary Nurnberger in P7 threw away that ninth place at the end there. Chris Lawson, who won the only other race that Michael McCoy didn't win, in P8. Safe Ferries in P9 after a decent finish, finishing in P5 in GT3 despite his incident earlier in the race. And you can see the rest of the points there on the table, as we've had 26 runners in GT3 so far. That is a pretty impressive run of points there for everybody. Richard Sullivan, despite not starting the race, still getting 2 points for I don't think that'll be the case once we go through. But Byron, before we move on to the results here, just your thoughts on Sebring next week. Going to be another entertaining race there, I'm sure.
Well, Sebring is a whole different animal than we saw here at Road Atlanta. Sebring is not got the elevation changes. It does have a lot of turns in it. Yes, it does. But it is a flat track. It is a bumpy track, especially coming around back to the start-finish line, to where you need to carry that momentum, but you need to keep the handling under that car and get those turns right, especially heading off into those slow turn S's right after turn one. I'm looking for, the same performance of these guys at Sebring that we saw here at Road Atlanta, but it's going to be a totally different animal. So there's going to be a shuffle, I believe, of the front runners that we're going to see. I do expect to see Michael McCoy and Matthew Lamoncelli up towards the front, but as you heard Matthew Lamoncelli alluding to, it's not his best track. It's not his most favorite. So maybe Michael McCoy, it's not his best track. So maybe Lamoncelli can get up in there and break that glass ceiling. Dennis Diaz, I've seen him at Sebring. He runs pretty good, but Paul Skip, I think he might have a little something for him. But don't count out Terry Calgar Jr. and don't count out Oleg Vorotniak. Has really impressed me the way I saw him drive. Yeah, he had that last lap incident that dropped him down in the running order here. But like I said, mental fatigue, it's a big animal in this thing called endurance racing. But I look for him to make a bounce back and be a part of the story next week.
Yeah, my pick for GTE will probably be Terry Calgar Jr. He's been absolutely on it this season. Only holds a 2-point lead over Paul Skip in the championship. But those two drivers, Calgar Jr. and Paul Skip, I expect those to be right up there again. And you're right about GT3. Michael McCoy says it's not his favourite track, but we'll soon see how he handles it. Lamoncelli, surely he's got to get off that second step of the podium soon. He's getting a bit too used to being on there, as we're still giving him grief about it. But
yeah, we're not gonna let him forget that one for a while.
No,
That's got to be a record. How many have you seen any leagues that we've ever broadcast or run in where you've had 4 races and you've had the same guy take second 4 times?
Well, I've never seen that before ever, so that's a new one for me. But before we go anywhere, let's go and take a look at the results for tonight's race. And winning overall after a great comeback there was Dennis Diaz. He will get the GTE win. Second in GTE was Paul Skip with 12 seconds, the gap between himself and Diaz. Terry Calgar Jr. rounds out your podium in GTE. Fourth place goes to Ryan Tyler. Brad McCombs rounds out your top 5. Tyler Langenberg, P6. And Oleg Vorotniak, after the late race incident, dropping down to P7 in GTE. Jesse Brannon in P8. Robert Garcia, late race incident here, but he gets P9. Tony Watson and Mark Dillon putting it on the hauler. Byron, GT3.
GT3 class, our top spot finisher for GT3. That's going to be Michael McCoy. 3 races won and 4 races run so far. Matthew Lamoncelli, as we've said, you haven't let him live it down yet, and I doubt you ever will. 4th, second place finish in 4 races. Paul Boyle brings it home in the 3rd position. Dallas Sullivan in the 4th, followed by Steve Ferry. He battled back to a 5th place overall in the class after the heartbreak we saw when he got away at the beginning of the race. Rex Hoyle comes in behind him in the next position, followed by Keith Roycross, Marcus Osborne, Cody Atkins. He brings it home in the 7th position in class. Zachary Nurnberger, ninth. Ninth. Zachary Nurnberger had the 9th, threw it away on that one where he got wide on that turn. Brings it home 10th in position, followed by Daniel Barnett. Dave Ferrara, I was seeing the notes he was leaving in chat at post-race. He was happy. He kept the car in one piece, brings it home in one piece, only had one spin in the race. Proud with it. He is making progress. Give me a couple seasons, I bet you we'll be talking about him at the front of the field here at Endurance for Amateurs. Jeff Height comes home behind him, followed by Jack Gunset and Chris Lawson. Tony Emanuel, we got a large field in GT3, followed by Sean Atkins. Bryce Anderson, he was in early retirement and not making the start. Gary Schilling and Richard Sullivan.
Well, Gary Schilling made the start, but he did not make it past lap 1. He actually retired from the race after just a couple of corners. But that is going to do it for us here on ESPN. A great race once again. Our biggest field of the season. Let's see more of that next season. Next week, looking forward to that at Sebring. Coming up on the schedule for the rest of the week, we have only 2 more broadcasts before the week is out. And tomorrow, that kicks off with the TNT Truck Series. You can join Frank, Tony and Ryan in the booth as they head to Eldora. And then on Saturday, you can find us at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix with the E-Formula Series, that 3.5 series, getting ever closer to the end, and it's just as tight as you'd expect when it gets as it's getting closer to that final race. But for now, that is going to do it for us here on ESPN. Great racing overall, and we're looking forward to more next week when we head to see you bring from myself, Sam Cooper Bennett. It's been an honour being here with this league. Joining me in the booth was Mr. Byron Rodney. All that's left for me to say is keep it clean, keep it green, and we will catch you tomorrow night for more live truck action with the TNT Truck Series, sponsored by Tickle Zombie. Have a good night.